been the second time I've heard that song, but wow, it's pretty powerful. I don't know if anybody's heard that song before. I don't know, but it was a good one, I thought. If anybody heard it, if you have any comments, just grab the mic and do so throughout, please. I welcome and invite anything. Lynn says in the chat, great song. Had you heard that before, Lynn? I
No,
hadn't.
I've never heard that. Who sings that?
Yeah, it was just the second time I've heard it. I just closed it out, but I'll get it for you here.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was pretty good, eh?
yeah, very.
A. Oh shoot, I just said the old A.
You can say A. All right.
A.
All right,
Okay,
you are
thank
now
you.
live streaming on YouTube also. So
Oh, okay, thank you
go.
so
Go right
much.
ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was I am already enough by what is her name? We'll grab it right here. This is not who it's by because that's just who has the channel, but it is by, I guess, Fearless Soul and Rachel Schroeder. Rachel with an A-E and a Schroeder, Schroeder. I am already enough. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I just want to recap those lyrics. I was searching, I was looking for meaning. I was wandering, desperately trying, only to see I have nothing missing. Who said I have to find who I am? Who said that I am lost to begin with? I am already enough. Everything I need is within me. Each morning when I wake up, I'm grateful for the beauty around me. Life is a gift. I want to enjoy it. Always proving my worth only destroys it. I am already enough. Everything I need is within me. And then the next section before I move on to it, that whole always proving my worth only destroys it reminds me of in my defenselessness, my safety lies, that lesson. I don't know the exact number of it, but I'm sure Dub does, and he might put it in the chat. But always proving my worth only destroys it. That's like defending myself, having to, that's, oh, thanks, Lynn, lesson 153. And yeah, I see a lot of the course in this song. At least that's how I'm hearing it. And the next words are, my motivation can't be validation. I'd always be starving for more affection, the wrong attention, only to feel like I am nothing. That just makes me feel like the whole ego game of the realization that nothing in this world can satisfy this longing, this desire within me that can only be fulfilled by the love, the truth of who I am, which is, who am I? Who said I have to find who I am? Well, all the great sages say it, lady. I'm just kidding. Sorry. But that was kind of funny. It's like, who said? Well, it's like the little voice inside, not the little one, but the one that pretends it's little, but it can be just vicious as well. And it's the one just struggling to find an identity because it doesn't have one. That's the program. It's just chasing its tail. And again, I'm already enough, and it goes through that again. And then it says, I have nothing to find and everything to feel. That's a good one for me because that feeling part is important. I think we're all kind of learning that it's easy to shut down like a robot and like completely disassociate. I mean, that's how I was living my life before. I'll bite this the bouts of anger and stuff, a lot of dissociation. So I have nothing to find and everything to feel. Only I can define what is meaningful to me. That's me. I give everything all the meaning it has. Even when I am feeling so breakable, I tell myself to believe I am valuable. I am already enough. Everything I need is within me. Each morning when I wake up, I'm grateful for the beauty around me. I love that. It's just as soon as the eyes open, just giving that gratitude to beauty or just God, however that comes through. I love that. Life is a gift. I want to enjoy it. And, you know, I don't know, from the Course in Miracles, this life is a gift, it kind of puts me into a bit of a tailspin, because I think that, well, life is, this is all the illusion, and to say it's a gift is kind of idolizing it, and to want to enjoy it, that throws me a bit. I'm working on seeing that differently. Always proving my worth only destroys it. I am already enough. Everything I need is within me, and it repeats. And yeah, that was the song. So thank you all for being here while we got to experience that. Again by well, Fearless Soul. Did I even get that right? Fearless Soul. Yes. Thank you. Okay, so here we go. We're going to step into now a book by John Mundy. He's a PhD. He's written many books. I'm sure you know him, of him. He's a well-known course teacher. He publishes Miracles magazine. He's the executive director of All Faith Seminary in New York City. I also love his book, Living a Course in Miracles. I'd like to get into that one again because I had started reading that. So maybe after this one, I could go back to that one. Anyway, let's go into this one. We are in chapter, I forget which chapter, but it's the section, The Ego and the Body, chapter 14. Page 157 of the book. Bodily pleasures are not sinful. Isn't that funny? I just said I was like struggling with enjoying life and that life is a gift. And here's a sentence. Bodily pleasures are not sinful. Interesting. That's helpful for me. Since everything is temporal, our enjoyment of things is also temporal. Lasting satisfaction is only found in the eternal. And please, if I mispronounce words, it's okay. English isn't my first language, all right, everybody? Just, I'm Canadian, eh? Joy comes in fulfilling God's plan for salvation. Aligning our mind with God's, aligning our mind, my mind with God's is my greatest joy, our greatest joy. Yeah. Like that first thing in the morning, just connecting, remembering. First century Jewish philosopher and mystic Philo of Alexandria argued that the unitive reality experienced in the contemplative state was ever one, unmoving, and unchanging. At the same time, it was also manifest in the world of form. The intuitive, direct experiencing and knowing of mysticism are thus more revelatory than philosophical speculation. Ooh. Wow. It is possible, he said, to actually see God. Filio reflects this basic story of mysticism when he writes, all whom Moses calls wise are sojourners. Their souls are colonists leaving heaven for a new home. Their way is to visit earthly nature as men who travel abroad to see and learn. So when they have stayed a while in their bodies and beheld through them all that sense and mortality have to show, they may make their way back to the place from which they first set out. To them, the heavenly region where their citizenship lies is their native land. The earthly region in which they became sojourners is a foreign country. And I just said English wasn't my first language. That's because Earth is not where I'm from. I love that. It makes me laugh. I don't know if it amuses anybody else, but I'm getting a kick out of that. That is so cool. Thank you. Love it. Next section, spirit and the body. Everything the ego uses, spirit can use as well, but only for good. The acronym LCFH indicates learning, communication, forgiveness, and healing. LCFH. Learning, communication, forgiveness, and healing. Thank you, Lynn, for the little chuckle emoji, so that I'm getting that you're appreciating what I'm putting down here. What I'm picking up on, maybe. I'm picking up on things to maybe make a story, though, although it's the way it is. So I digress. In the hands of spirit, the body becomes a learning device. We learn through the body, through time, through miracles, and through holy instants. Now, for me, I like to say this because this is my understanding of what miracles are, according to A Course in Miracles, which is John Mundy is a Course in Miracles teacher. So miracles are a change of mind. It's a change of perspective from the wrong mind to the right mind. That's what miracles are in A Course in Miracles. And holy instants, I believe, are when, in my experience, there is no time. It's this described as going vertical, with going kind of one vertically with aligned with source, and being engulfed in something perhaps not describable, but maybe I'm not talking about holy instance properly. If anybody wants to come on and talk about holy instance, just to give some clarity, that would be great, because I feel like I'm not, maybe, is that what they are? It's that gap, those connections, that it's not thinking and story. Like, this isn't a holy instant because I'm talking in my character of my story. Anyway, I'll go on, and maybe it'll get answered unless somebody grabs the mic, then that's cool too. Only the mind can create, because spirit has already been created, and the body is a learning device for the mind, the Course points out. Learning devices are not lessons in themselves. Their purpose is merely to facilitate learning. The worst a faulty use of a learning device can do is to fail to facilitate learning, from the text chapter 2. So that's all that a body can do, is just to fail at facilitating a learning. Oh, Lynn, are you coming on? No? Oh. Can you come on? No, maybe not. You know what? I just had a thought. I could just Google the course from ACIM, Foundation for Inner Peace, and I can just put in the search on their web edition, Holy Instant, and I bet I can get some better exclamation. So
Yeah. You're going to get a lot of explanation. And it's kind of a thing. The holy instant is really not definable because it can't be understood by the ego mind. So you
Right, yeah.
say all kinds of things. It's when this happens and when that happens, but really the ego mind is incapable of understanding the holy instant. And so you have to make of it what it is, but you know it when a holy instant, when you connect with somebody and you experience
Mm, mm,
just
mhm.
instant love and um uh it's um it's that instant of joining with the Holy Spirit. And when you join with the Holy Spirit in that instant, you become one with the Holy Spirit, and that's what they call the Holy Instant, as far as I can tell. And that when it happens, when it only happens when we can absolutely let go of all of our desires for the world and open up to allow the Holy Spirit in. And when we have a relationship with the person, if we have a relationship with the Holy Spirit in that person, we have a holy relationship. Anything that is referred to as being holy is a thing where we've allowed the Holy Spirit in and given it over to, um, let's see, um, an instant. This is in chapter 15, which is all about the holy instant. An instant offered to the Holy Spirit is offered to God on your behalf, and in that instant, you will awaken gently in Him. So that's a holy instant is when I absolutely just give myself over to the Holy Spirit. Um, and I experience in the blessed instant you will let go all your past learning, and the Holy Spirit will quickly offer you the whole lesson of peace. Um, it, it's it's a something. It also says, in this holy instant, you will unchain all your brothers and refuse to support either their weakness or your own. So there's a lot of stuff that happens in the holy instant. But it happens, you know, by our letting go. So anyway, that's all I had to say about that.
No, that's so good,
Right.
Lynn. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And I love that because as you were as you were giving that great explanation of the holy instant and the non-explanation and inability to give an explanation, with that, it's so perfect. And then my mind, as you were saying it, just went into the past, of course, because it just happened yesterday that my doorbell rang and they were handing out there's going to be an election. It was an older gentleman, and I was like, oh, okay. And I took the card and I was like, well, I said, I don't vote and I don't complain. Oh, he said, I just want peace, I said. And he was like, well, good luck with that. And I said, well, they're all in their egos. I'm trying to get out of my ego. And we just looked at each other and I was smiling. He just seemed, I don't know, unmoved there. I don't know. It wasn't awkward. It just felt cool. He took back the pamphlet and I don't know. And then I felt like there was a recognition in his eyes when I looked at him, and then he just laughed, and it felt kind of cool. But I don't know if I would say that was a holy instant, but
Well, I
me,
felt kind of cool. And if you did, if you were actually blessing him while you were having that conversation, and being open to his humanity, um and allowing him to see your humanity. I mean, these are all things that are part of the holy instant. It really is just that recognition that we all are the same, and
yeah, yeah.
he wants and needs the same thing you do. We are one in the Holy Spirit, and I think that's a beautiful example. I love
Oh,
that.
thank you.
I bet you that man went home I bet he thought about that more than once. Um, because he had a conviction in his mind that, if you don't vote, it means you don't care, and if you don't care, that means that if things are going to go wrong, and it's going to be your fault because you didn't vote. And I mean,
Right.
people who are
Yeah. Who
into that really
knows? Who
have the
knows?
whole thing in their mind. So for him to come up to see you, and you have a different point of view that is, when you think about it, quite reasonable and not at all, uh, what can you say about that? I mean, you
Well,
have,
that was what it was, that look of perplexion at first. What can I say to that?
yeah, there's
Right?
nothing you can say
Yeah.
to that because it's obvious. I mean,
I
you,
also, Lynn, what you say is true, because often I'll go to my door and I'll be annoyed. There will be a feeling of annoyance because, the dog used to bark, and well, I had a bit of sadness because there's no dog barking. It's still fairly recent since Milo passed. And I felt compassion when I opened the door. I actually thanked him too I said, thank you. Like, it wasn't just this brief exchange. He stood on my porch for a little bit. And I said, but I thank you for taking your time to come out and walk around and do all this. Like, it was very interesting, very interesting. So I love that you're saying maybe he thought about it, because
oh,
yeah,
I
here I
know
am
he did.
thinking about it. Who knows?
You're thinking about it. If you're thinking about it, he's thinking about it because that's the thing. Minds are joined, and you
Yes.
may not recognize this, but your mind is not any different than anybody else's. And unless I mean, it just there's no unless he thought about you, and he thought
Yeah.
about what you said, and he's probably thinking about it right now because you're thinking about it too. And that connection is a permanent connection. This is a connection that was made through that true desire to be truly helpful. I mean,
Wow.
he's
Nice.
trying to be
Yeah.
truly helpful. You're trying to be truly helpful. You may have a different point of view how to get there, but don't you both want peace? If you
Yes.
asked him,
Yes.
would you give up everything if you could just have total peace?
Right.
You give up
Yeah.
thinking about the world if you could have total peace? He might say, well, no, to be, but in his mind, he'd have to think about, the only reason that I'm upset about this is because I don't have total peace. But if I
Yeah.
had total peace, none of this would matter to me. None of this
Yeah.
meaning
Yeah.
to me. And I could see peace instead of this. My goodness.
Yeah. Wow.
It-
That's beautiful. Wow, that just really deepens that whole experience and exchange. So I'm grateful for that. Thank you, Lynn, so much.
You're welcome, Audsie. Yeah, God.
Hey, it's noon already, so I can close out now.
Yeah,
If I can finish maybe a section, the
sure. Yeah, yeah,
chapter.
go ahead and read some because that's the purpose here. So,
Yeah, yeah, I'll finish up this chapter. It's only a couple pages, so,
okay.
and it's big writing, so no worries. So thank you again. That was awesome. Wow. Thank you. Okay, second time around it says, and this is from the text, chapter 4. The first coming of Christ is merely another name for the creation, for Christ is the Son of God. The second coming of Christ means nothing more than the end of the ego's rule and the healing of the mind. Again, text chapter 4. That's a
Have you had any nourishment?
good one there. Okay, Google, music off. My thing just came on as a reminder at noon, telling me it says, have you had any nourishment? And then music starts playing because I sometimes forget to eat. So I have to put in these little things so that otherwise I start feeling really sick and it doesn't do anybody any good. So that's what that noise was, if you heard it. If the body is a learning device, then the world is our school. Earth school. We got the Earth School. That was, I think, what was his name? The guy, Soul Stories, Gary Zukav or something. Earth School. The way we learn in school is through communication. The primary function of the body is to give and receive information. In a word, communication. We learn through talking and listening, through reading and writing, and through trying to understand. We are always teaching and learning. And the question is not, what would you like to teach? The question is, what would God have you learn? Ooh, that was a tricky. I thought it was going to be, what would God have you teach? But no, what would God have you learn? Of course, like I just learned that lesson so much more deeply. Thank you again, Lynn, for being open to that. And I love that. The question is, what would God have you learn? Perfect. Our primary learning is one of forgiveness. That is learning to let other people be who they are without trying to judge or fix them. That's a good way of putting that, because that just makes me see people flash up in my mind, because I'm like, wait, so this should be different about them. Nah, learning to let other people be who they are without trying to judge or fix them. Just like that song said, I'm enough, like everything's within me. That's the same for anybody I'm looking at in front of me. It's the same thing. They are who they're unfolding to be for their own healing in their own individualized spark of expression. It's no different from what I am, who I am. That does not mean that we allow ourselves, okay, I'm a little shocked here. That does not mean that we allow others. I think we're not allowed to say this first word on YouTube, so I'm not going to say it. Hey, Dove, sir. I'll mute you. So that does not mean that we allow others to essay or schmurder, because we're not allowed to say that on YouTube either. At least in the true crime, they're not allowed to say certain words. They get little strikes too, so I'll be careful with that. And steal, maybe it won't count here. Who knows? It's weird though that you can't say certain words that are said all over the news and whatnot, but YouTube's funny. Ultimately, we must let go of all that hurts and all things that bring us pain. Wait a minute. I was just like, hey, stop judging YouTube. YouTube is just there trying to be what it's being, let it be what it is without trying to judge or fix YouTube. Okay, leave it alone. Leave it alone. We must let go of all that hurts and all things that bring us pain, realizing that only an ego can be disheartened or disillusioned. Only an ego can experience guilt. Only an ego can be arrogant. Only an ego can live in fear and doubt. Forgiveness simply means letting go of everything that hurts, everything that brings us pain. Everybody hurts sometimes. Okay, sorry about that. And all this letting go means holding on to nothing. Forgiveness leads us to healing. The body and time are learning devices. But miracles are also learning devices. When we forgive, when we really let something go, we are healed. And that is felt. That's completely felt within, in my experience. The only way I know I've let something go is if in that next Groundhog Day revisitation of this sort of same quote unquote issue, there's just no, it's just not a feeling of a twinge of a resentment or any, there's only just a neutrality or an emptiness that's not empty as in void, but just a delight, I guess I would say. Then we come to understand why forgiveness is a miracle. The process of learning to forgive occurs through learning and communication. The result is forgiveness and a healing of our minds, and thus of all our relationships. Yeah. The miracle extends out, like we can't even know how far, how wide, where it reaches, even if it's me talking about that story about that gentleman, and now Lynn thinks about it and she might say something to somebody, or who knows, or even that story makes somebody think of this, or the connections are, it's crazy. Like I thought my mind was busy and whatnot. I mean, it could be so much busier. I'm grateful. It's just, at the level it is. The attraction of God is the next and last section of this chapter. So it says, so you have two choices. We can let the ego use our body, or we can let spirit use it. We can feed the ravenous ego or nourish spirit. When we free ourselves from the ego, we become more aware of the presence of spirit. There is an ongoing attraction or pull toward God. When we regularly and consistently raise our spiritual awareness, spirit develops a natural thirst for, an addiction to God. As we get a positive addiction going, smaller wants and needs seem less attractive. Moving deeper into the contemplative mind means becoming more aware. There is only one God, one universe, and one fundamental power that deserves our attention. When we study the lives of the mystics, when we look at the early church fathers and mothers, we find individuals who were so overcome by the attraction of God that they stepped away from the world in order to seek only God. Indian teacher Maharaja Nisargadatta said that our true nature is perpetually free, peaceful awareness. Perpetually free, peaceful awareness. This awareness exists prior to mind, memory, and body. The idea that we are the body keeps us from living what he called our original essence. The notions of good and bad appear as the mind judges the functions of the body. The body can be a helpful tool for communication and learning. As the central figure in the ego's dream of the world, it can also be an object of separation. It is depressing to be only a body. Spirit, not the body, is reality. Japanese Zen master D.T. Suzuki says, because you think you have a body or mind, you have lonely feelings. But when you realize that everything is just a flashing into the vast universe, you become very strong. and your existence becomes very meaningful. I'll just read that one more time from the Japanese Zen master, D.T. Suzuki. Because you think you have a body or mind, you have lonely feelings. But when you realize that everything is just a flashing into the vast universe, you become very strong and your existence becomes very meaningful. Well, that therein really did answer my question from the start about life being a gift and all of that. I feel alive with the love of Source and grateful to be in this room and having shared this time with all of you. Thank you so much and have a great rest of the week and a happy weekend, everybody. Releasing the mic.
Thank you so much, Audsie. It's so great to see you, and thank you for being here. I love you with all my heart, and I know you got celebrated at Awakening Together this last weekend. I didn't attend, but I'm glad that they appreciate you and know that you are loved.